Back to Creator Serial Podcast. I'm your host, M. Panda Cole, and this is Creator Serial Podcast, where we put creativity in your cereal. Um, I had to jump on today. I had to jump on. I had to do a broadcast. I had to make a video because there's a lot of fuck shit going on in pop culture right now. There's a lot of fandom, faction, feuds going crazy right now, and there's a lot of shit to discuss. I'm not one of these spammers who's gonna drop vids every 30 minutes all day, hit you with all these uploads just to try to spike my views. I broadcast when I have something to say and I express my views. This is presented by Total Shock Fiction Publishing House and all affiliated entities. Ink Runs Red over on Substack. Um, Shockstar. Shockstar Records. If you hear the music playing in the background, that's from my new house music EP, album, LP, which is called Thunder Goddess. This song, I'm not sure if this song is even going to get released. But yeah, there's a new single out called Heat Wave backslash I Love Paris, which is a two-part track. It's the first single off Thunder Goddess, which is a house music soundtrack that accompanies my new book, Thor the Thunder Goddess. You can get Thor the Thunder Goddess on Amazon. It's even available on Walmart.com. I'm available in all the retail stores and bookstores. You can search N Panda Cole, and my shit comes up. You can just Google Total Shock Fiction or Google Ink Runs Red, Mr. Shock, and my shit be coming up. So we have a lot to discuss. First off, Supergirl versus He-Man. So the Supergirl movie. Let's get this out of the way. James Gunn is whack. Like, period. James Gunn is whack. He has ruined DC. The Snyderverse wasn't really great either. I wasn't fucking with it. I didn't like it. But his corny style storytelling is worse. The Superman movie was trash. I walked out of Superman in the first 10 minutes. I only got a ticket and went to see it because the original creator of Superman was so destitute by the time Superman blew up and the movie came out in the 70s. He had sold the rights for like crumbs. He couldn't even afford to go see the Superman movie when he created the character. So I bought a ticket to the new James Gunn Superman for him. And I walked in for him. And then we walked the fuck out because it was trash. So we walked the fuck out. Like, I like the original Superman serials. I like the Timverse, the Dennyverse, Superman, Justice League, Unlimited Superman. Outside of that, outside of original Smallville, I'm not fucking with none of that shit. And I love Supergirl. I'm a huge Supergirl fan. I mean, if you grew up on the Timverse, Supergirl was baddie vibes, and her clone, baddie vibes. Goth girls in the chat. Like, I love Supergirl. I'm a huge Supergirl fan. And it's disappointing the Supergirl movie is not as cool as it should be. And honestly, the big move for these studios would be to pivot out of this live action shit and do more in what they were doing with the Spider-Verse. But the Spider-Verse is corny to me. I don't like the Spider-Verse. Like, I mean, the first movie was kind of cool because it was kind of meta, but I don't like that shit. I don't like the CGI animation. So, like, the biggest pivot for these different studios would be to just drop a full cell animated movie on some Dennyverse, Bruce Timmverse, classic DC as a motion picture feature length. Like, that's the future for the creative media, for entertainment media. It's full animated movies that use all the technological innovations we have now to make new shit. So like Demon Slayer quality animation where you have the CGI digital backgrounds and shit, but doing full cell animation, doing the real animation, doing that anime style action, that classic Justice League Unlimited shit. That's the pivot. That's the big pivot. James Gunn has axed the Warner Bros. Entertainment branch of DC Studios. They're not even producing any DC animated movies. And even though Crisis on Infinite Earths, they pretty much botched that, it's still before that. Like I liked War World. I liked War World. I liked the Batman Long Halloween Part 1. I feel like that movie should have been like 3 movies maybe because Part 2 felt very rushed and very jam packed. Like they just put everything else into Part 2 when Part 1 was very evenly paced. So they were still doing dope shit even with that Tomorrowverse. And I just love the DC Entertainment animated movies. Like I've seen them all. Like I've seen pretty much all of them. Like except the Aquaman ones. Fuck Aquaman, bro. Like, I'm a bigger Mermaid Man fan, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy from SpongeBob, than I am Aquaman fan. Like fuck Aquaman. I like Aqualad because he's fucking black. So Young Justice, Aqualad, now he was dope, but Aquaman, nah, I'm not fucking with that. Um, so yeah, I mean, people at this point, I think the consensus is superhero fatigue. Like motherfuckers are tired of the superhero shit. Spider Man's gonna be a big hit because Spider Man's always a hit. Tom Holland is super popular. He's definitely not my favorite Spider Man. I really wish we would get more of a stoner vibe Spider Man, like Andrew Garfield's Spider Man. I really wish they would have jumped on that Amazing Spider Man 3 train off the success of No Way Home. But, we can all dream. We can all dream. I mean, for me, like, Spider Man is from Queens. Like, Peter Parker's from Queens. So it's like you don't have to make him black. I feel like you could make Peter Parker black instead of like, oh, Miles Morales, he's the black Spider-Man. I feel like Peter Parker could definitely be black because I mean he's from fucking Queens. But even if you want to keep him white, like he should be like a cool white boy. Like, like he hits a corner and like the niggas on the block are like hitting a blunt and like Peter hits the blunt. He's like, what's up with it? And like everyone respects him type shit. Like that's like the vibe I would want to see from like a Spider-Man movie, like or comic or story, whatever. So we're seeing corporate exhaustion. Okay, we're seeing corporate exhaustion. Sorry, I got to turn on marketer boardroom mode, guys. I got to turn on marketer boardroom mode because we're seeing corporate exhaustion at unprecedented levels. They're doing committee approved, algorithm approved bullshit, putting it out, expecting people to fuck with it. It's whack. It's not dope. It's not authentic. It's not original. And here's the thing: they think by playing it safe and creating some slop that they think is 4 quadrants, they think it's going to reach all audiences. And really, because they're catering to no audience, they're making it for no one. If you niche down and make it for a specific audience, if it's really good, you'll get the other audiences will go see it. If you make a really good movie for the bros, the the girlfriends, the wives, and the fangirlies, like they're all gonna go see it still. You know what I mean? People are still gonna take their kids, like old people who like comics and superheroes, they're still gonna go see it. Deadpool 1 is a perfect example. Super niche, rated R as fuck, graphic, sex scenes, violence, gore, explicit graphic language, totally off the wall shit. Salute Michael Jackson, off the wall. So you can niche down and still it will scale up. But Hollywood is so focused on pushing their own agenda of what they want these bland ass stories to be when they're not even creatives. They're just financiers. That's why we don't get classics. The 80s, before that, the 70s with the Grindhouse, you had real filmmakers who love movies making movies, and then the corporations and the industry made money off those movies. But in the modern day, they've corporatized everything to where this shit's dystopian. This shit is dystopian. The media is dystopian. The entertainment is dystopian. Every movie coming out right now, ass. Like they're all ass. That shit is all trash. Dumpster fires. Fucking Power Ballad. Odyssey looks weak as fuck. These new actors, new generation actors, they don't have the gravitas to do a movie like the Odyssey. And fucking what's his face? Christopher Nolan, his shit is whack. Like I don't watch his movies no more. Yeah, he made The Dark Knight 10 years ago. But it's like, bro, They're doing this cookie cutter shit. Like ChatGPT can make some better shit than these niggas are making. Like the fan edits and the AMVs and the shit they make on TikTok is better than the shit these motherfuckers are making. That's why they're taking the TikTokers and putting their shit on Tubi. Like I watch Tubi, bro. Like Tubi has good shit. Not I don't watch Tubi originals, but they have the archive of straight to DVD, VHS tape era, DVD home straight to DVD era movies. Shows that got canceled, shows that are underrated, shows that are niche. Like the future is niche, blowing up in in like smaller circles and scaling that shit, bro. Like this overarching monopoly game they're playing, like, no, this is not the wave, bro. And this shit is whack. That's why they say, oh, look, it's Supergirl. This is a girl boss movie. Nothing about this movie is for women. Nothing about this movie really speaks to girlhood, womanhood, or women at all. Like, nothing about it. It's a movie made by fucking jerk offs. Like, nothing about it. Like, nothing about it. Nothing about it is even, as a Supergirl fan, nothing about that movie makes me want to see it. You failed. Just off that, if I'm a Supergirl fan and DC has instilled in me a relationship or connection as a consumer, that I see Supergirl and I click and I like Supergirl, and you made a multi-million-dollar budget Supergirl movie and nothing about your promotion material, the movie itself, the teasers, the trailers, nothing about it makes me go, I have to see this. You failed. You failed as an industry. Period. You might not even care about that. You might be looking at the money, whatever. You failed as an industry. And you'd make more money if you made something that was true to the material in addition to making you money. You can still be strategic and make money, but you can also make something good. Evil Dead Burn. When I seen that trailer, everything about me that's a hardcore, diehard Evil Dead fan said this is going to be incredible. Even when they did Evil Dead Rise, I was down for it and I enjoyed it. Was it my favorite Evil Dead? No, but I still liked it and they still catered to me as an audience. And it was the most successful of all the Evil Dead movies. Follow the model. You guys need to follow what Sam Raimi's doing, what he does with his shit. His shit be big successes. He gave you Spider-Man. There would be no MCU without Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. There would be no MCU without 20th Century Fox's X-Men before Disney bought up X-Men. There would be none of this shit without Blade. Wesley Snipes gave you niggas Blade. There would be none of this shit without Blade. There would be none of this shit without Blade. So, moving on from that to the He-Man movie. I want to see the He-Man movie. We're getting a mixed response. Some people say they're deconstructing masculinity. This is beta male bullshit. It's a modern blah, whatever. Other people are like, well, I liked it. I had more fun than I expected. It's better than expected. They spent $200 million on it. It looks great. It's probably a little dumb in some parts. It winks itself too much. They don't take shit like that serious. They won't make a He-Man movie and just take it serious. They have to ground it in some kind of mundane realism. But whatever. I still want to go see it. So when I go see it, let you guys know. Scary movies coming out. I've seen a few videos on that this morning. The critics are, it's too crass and they're punching down. Have you ever seen Scary Movie? They punch down and it's crass. That's what it is. And it's 2026 where everything's PC. So of course they made the most un-PC movie. And be ready to see that because that's the new wave. Making shit that goes completely against PC because everyone's sick of it. Even the people who are the PC flag wavers, they're sick of it. They're like, fuck, can we just be a little misogynist again? Can we be a little racist again? Like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but for real, people are like, can we be a little less PC? Even the PC flag wavers would like to see something that's, it might offend them, but if they have a good time, they might still fuck with it. Like, that's kind of the new wave. Like, they're making Rush Hour 4, scary movies out. Like, so expect to see that. Expect to see more people pushing back, doing the opposite of everything that's been going on. Like, expect people to start changing shit up and being unapologetically themselves. You know, again, that's Bliss in Paradise to Michael Jackson, because this whole Michael Jackson mania wave is really an inspiration to just be yourself. And all the lies the media tells, it's all lies. It's always been lies. They've always been full of shit. That's why I created Scumbag Journalism. You can go look at my playlist, Scumbag Journalism 101, and you can become a scumbag journalist like me. I dropped 2 articles this morning. So, you know, expect to see the change up. Expect to see people being themselves and not afraid to say what they want to say, which brings me to the it brings me to the Gachiakta situation. And I guess I don't know if it's Gachi. I say Gachiakta. It might be Gachiakata, which is what it looks like. So I guess that's how you pronounce it. But basically, the creator of Gachiakta, um, Kei Orana, who is really cool to me. She seems like she's cool. I watched Gachiakta. I watched the first like 9 episodes. So I seen the Jabber arc, that initial arc. Modern shonen, it doesn't hold my attention. Like, once I get a sense of the formula of the show and I get down like what it is and why it's a hit, I just study that and bounce. Like, I watched the first 10 episodes of Sakamoto Days. I watched the first 10 episodes of Gachiakta. But for me to really stick with a show, it's got to hit a very certain vibe and a very certain like classic kind of high standard I have for anime. Like, I like the new Ranma 1/2 reboot from Studio Mappa from 2024 season 1. Season 2 was whack. They ruined it. Season 1 was really good. So like, even though that's a slice of life comedy romance, I still enjoy shit like that. Like, I don't only watch brutal OVAs from the 80s. Like, I watch other shit. Like, I like slice of life. I like romance. One of my favorite anime from last year was Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Recently, I found My Dress Up Darling season 1 was great. I liked Quintessential Quintuplets season 1. I liked Bunny Girl Does Not Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Like, one I love one of my favorite animes that I always drop is like My Redemption. Is like, okay, yeah, I like brutal gore shit. I like Urosuki Doji, but I also like Hanasaka Aroha. So it's like, if you know, you know. Like, if you know Hanasaka Aroha, you have good taste in anime. You have really good taste in anime. But so with the Gachi Akata thing, because it's really messed up. Basically, a few things happened. A character came out, and everybody like online, the Twitter police or whatever, they said that the character was trans, and the character wasn't trans. So Kei Orana, the creator of the character, said the character isn't trans. And then they also were telling her that she was non-binary, and she posted and said, well, that's news to me, because she doesn't identify as non-binary. So she was attacked as being transphobic for saying that her character wasn't trans and that she's not non-binary, which seems very like weird, because it's like, why does that make her like transphobic? I don't get it. So then also, in addition to that, she recently now deleted her Twitter, deactivated her Twitter, because she reposted a video of a fan cosplaying as Jabber with green onions for dreads, and people attacked her for that and said she was racist. Now, for one, a fucking fan of Gachi Akata in Japan using green onions for dreads is funny. Like, I don't know if maybe that's like a disconnect with Japanese humor and the way Americans view things. To me, I immediately think that's funny. I am black myself, and that's funny. I don't see how that was racist for her to post that. You guys are stupid. And now she had to leave Twitter, and everyone bullied her off the internet. And what I hate most about these social committee groups is they accuse people of being bullies and bigots, and bully people and bigot people. You're the bigots. You're the bullies, because they falsely brand people with shit that's not even true, and then they bully people. It's like, if you're about inclusion, if you're about safe spaces, why are you making everything so hostile? It don't make no sense. So that's whack as fuck. And then everyone's scared. They're like, they're not gonna make black anime characters anymore now. It's like, bro, they're gonna have more black anime characters. They always have black culture in Japan. Japan loves black culture. Like Japan loved Michael Jackson. Like he started some of his world tours in Japan. I was just watching the movie for the Michael Jackson movie premiere in Japan. Like they love black culture in Japan. They love hip hop. That's why we have shit like Afro Samurai and Samurai Champloo. And Gachi Akata is all inspired by hip hop, black culture, black fashion, graffiti. So I think it's really whack for people to attack her and say that she's racist when she created a whole hit anime series manga inspired by black culture. So for the social justice warriors who may have harassed her or got online and think you're in the right and think you're campaigning for black representation, you're actually attacking it. You're making it harder for creators to express their inspiration from black culture, which is stupid. You're the fucking problem, not her. So that was really weird when I seen that. I was just watching a bunch of YouTube videos since yesterday and kind of catching up on things. I've been really locked into just like listening to Michael Jackson every day, watching his interviews, watching the movie. I've seen the movie like 5 times. So I've just really been locked in on creating and also not creating. So that's kind of what I want to talk about beyond my news coverage. That's the end of my news segment. I want to talk about resting. I'm a super producer. Last year, I wrote and published 25 books. I call it my 25 in 2025. The 25th book came out the first week of 2026, January 7th, or I think. But I wrote most of it in 2025. So I still count that as 25 in 2025 because 24, come on, it's 25. So then since then, I did 4, 5, 6, 7. I've released 7 books this year, but I've written like 20. Like from the end of March to now, I wrote 16 books. Now, my format of books is different from the traditional model. I create OVAs and box sets. My writing style is faster paced, it's more cinematic. I don't do big excessive exposition to make it literary or whatever. My shit is literary. I've studied great literature. I'm a student of Russell Banks. I've studied classic literature, Alexander Dumas. I love Dracula, Frankenstein, H.P. Lovecraft, classic cosmic horror and gothic literature. I've read To Kill a Mockingbird and different literary classics. Like I know good literature. I believe in good literature, but I write with a cinematic pacing like anime, like movies. So I do 60 to 80 page shorter works, which are my equivalent of a novella, which sometimes they average maybe 10,000 words, 10,000 plus. And those I call OVAs. And then I do a box set is my novel length, which is 150 pages plus. So if I do something that's like 150 pages plus, regardless of word count, that's a novel for me. Like I don't do a 80,000, 100,000 word novel. The thing about it is they use that as gatekeeping. So they tell you, well, if it's not 100,000 words, it's not a novel. Or this, that, and the third. And the reality is the word count doesn't matter. What matters is if you're telling a story. I could write 100,000 words. It would take me longer. I'd have to work on the same thing for longer. And I don't like working on the same thing for a long time. I like to work on something new and finish it quickly. So that's a gatekeeping thing. Because if I would have internalized, well, if I don't write 100,000 words, I'm not a writer, I would have stopped writing instead of writing 20 books. And when you add up the 20 books I just wrote, I'm sure it's over 100,000 words. Even if I wrote 20, if each one is like 10,000 words, I'm at like 200,000 words. But instead of 2 novels and releasing one novel every 2 years from a major publisher and getting 15% royalties, I wrote 20 books that I can monetize independently, get $5+ a copy sold, and get nearly 80% of royalties myself for free. Independent publishing, bitch. Editors, agents, publishers, gatekeepers. You have to have an agent to pitch yourself to a publisher, and then an editor has to go through your work to make it publishable. Fuck you. No, they don't. I don't need an agent. I don't want to be pitched. And an editor definitely isn't going to go through my shit because I edited my fucking self. I formatted my fucking self. And my covers are AI. So if that makes you mad, My covers are AI. That's a technological advancement of the future. Someone who can't draw, guess what? Now I can make art because my writing is solid as fuck. And most people, a lot of people, their AI art covers and shit, their shit be their shit be generic. Look at my shit. My shit ain't generic because my prompts ain't generic. My writing ain't generic. My vision, mentally, what I can see in my mind ain't generic. Just because the AI created it, I rendered it. I made it up here first. The AI covers are my fucking covers. I made those. You can't produce those. So I'm a super producer. I have a backlog a year out right now. I wrote so many books so quickly that I had to take a break. I'm making myself take a vacation from writing. I have one book coming out every month for the next year plus, pretty much. So all through this year, one book's coming out every month. This month I just released Thor the Thunder Goddess. I say we because I'm an entity. I do so many different things, but it's just me. Thor the Thunder Goddess. So Thor the Thunder Goddess is my new book. I wrote it last year actually. So it's not one of ones I just wrote recently, but I'm just now releasing. It's a collection of the Thora stories and related stories. And Thora is a monster hunter. She's a teenage goth girl. Think Xena Warrior Princess meets Kim Possible by way of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So like she has to fight monsters, but go to class, and she's kind of irritated and over the whole thing. And she has a storm sword. She fights squid freaks. It's very Lovecraftian horror, Lovecraftian cosmic horror. Big Lovecraft fan, student of Lovecraft. I spent multiple years studying Lovecraft, so like I'm a huge Lovecraft fan. I love Lovecraft, bro. H.P. Lovecraft was the shit. He's one of the greatest literary minds that have ever existed. He's one of the greatest writers who ever existed. He's one of the greatest authors of all time, and he's the father of modern horror. So it's very Lovecraftian cosmic horror, but it's fempunk, which is a genre I pretty much have coined. I don't know if other people have used it too, but it's very much focused in like slice of life, girlhood, sisterhood, womanhood, matriarchs, femininity, um, and just beyond that, just real characters that feel like real people, not smoothed over. Just because a character is a action themed badass doesn't mean they can't fall in love. Doesn't mean they can't be sad. Doesn't mean they can't be messy or be broken or have parts of themselves they want to change or need to change or struggles. I like to write characters who feel lived in. I like to write characters who feel gritty, characters that really feel like they are going through the story with you. So Thora the Thunder Goddess is part of my Black Fantasy Saga series. Black Fantasy Saga is a new series that I launched in April. Currently there's 3 books under Black Fantasy Saga, which includes Black We Are, Roar of the Lion. That one is pretty much Black Fantasy Saga Book 0. And then you have Book 1, The Almighty Sword. So that's my official flagship canon right now, like my flagship series, because I have so many books, 30 plus books on Amazon. I also have expanded distribution now through Amazon. So you can get my shit pretty much almost any book retailer. I see my books are listed on there, the ones that I have for expanded distribution, which is the most recent ones. Um, like Black We Are, War of the Lion, Almighty Sword, and my book Midnight Showdown, which is dedicated to my grandfather, Bliss in Paradise. Um, those books are available on BAM Books, which we don't have those here on the West Coast, but they have them over on the East Coast and in the South and the Midwest. Um, you can order those in store and pick them up from the store. You can also get Thor the Thunder Goddess like on Walmart.com, like that shit's on Walmart.com. So I've reached mainstream retailers. My books are in mainstream retail spaces. Basically, I've gotten the underground niche books that no publisher ever would have published. That they would have told me my writing was not good or it needed to change or I needed to revise. All of those stories that they would have denied me at the gates, I've taken into the gates, and they're sitting alongside digital retail shelf space with bestsellers. So they're in the mainstream retail space, which you can do too by making an Amazon KDP account, making a book, and then publishing it through Amazon KDP with expanded distribution option. And you get 40% of all royalties on any of those that sell through those particular retail spaces, but you're still getting 60-70% on ebooks, and you get like a little bit less on paperbacks. But yeah, so independence. In this day and age, you don't need gatekeepers. Really, it's a vanity thing. People want to be acknowledged. They want to be knighted. They want to be awarded. They want to be co-signed by a corporation. They want to be co-signed by the industry. They want to be co-signed by an agent. They want to feel important because they have a manager. They want to feel important because they paid someone to make a cover for them instead of just generating on AI themselves, because they didn't necessarily have the creativity to generate the image in their mind in order to bring it to life through AI. So then some of those people will say, oh, well, you're stealing from artists by using AI. But no, you're being innovative, because if an artist is charging $8,000 for a cover and you're trying to make money off your books and don't have that money to invest, what are you supposed to do? Make a shitty cover yourself that no one will buy? Or make a cover better than the person that drew one because you had a better idea in your mind and it looks professional? Purity, what people call purity. Oh, this is a purity signal. I made it myself. Good for you. My covers were still dope when I made them for myself. When I made them for myself. Yeah, there's multiple of me. When I made them for myself, like, my covers were still dope. I still DIY'd that shit. They were still dope and don't look fucking generic. But they're better now because they're all aligned and have similar art style. And it's still my images. I create them. I don't even have the AI make the cover. I tell it exactly what the picture is of. I frame it in my mind and tell it and prompt it out. I'm a master prompt engineer. So don't let people tell you you can't use AI to make your art. If you're a creator, if you're a creative, you're actually ahead of the game. In the next 5 or so years, the next 2 to 3 years, you're gonna see everyone widely embracing it. You're gonna see these communities of people that are saying, "Oh, you can't use AI to make art." Those people they're gonna go away. Like, that's gonna become a thing of the past. So if you're making AI art for your books, and which if you make it on ChatGPT, you own it, so it's totally commercial. You can sell it for commercial use. You can use it for your art covers. You're ahead of the game, and you're innovating, and you're beating the gatekeepers, and you're beating the publishers. And that brings me to the last thing I want to talk about today, which is the DC blackout. So, long story short, but also long story long, DC Comics, one of the big three, or big two, actually, big two, they haven't had a mainline continuity ongoing series for over 1,200 days. So for 3+ years, they haven't had a main continuity. And main continuity, that means a comic book series that's mainline, which means part of their flagship canon, ongoing, not limited series. So they have black label imprints like Absolute Universe, where they have Absolute Green Lantern, where the character she is black, but that's a limited series. It's not ongoing continuity. And they haven't had one of those for over 1,200 days. And in the last 50 years, they've only had 10, and none of them were women. Those are jarring statistics. Those are jarring. And for the racially biased consumers of media who would say, we don't need more black stories, when they campaign for black stories and black representation, they're being counter racist. That's racism. They're being racist against whites. No, it's not, because fantasy and media are white dominated spaces. So in marginalized groups, which includes black people, Latinos, Asian people, gays, trans, whatever marginalized group you're part of, the dominant narrative is white, heteronormative, cisgendered narratives dominated by male stories. So anyone of any marginalized group, black people, black comic fans, black readers, black creators, black authors, black writers, African diaspora, indigenous on the continent, we have to advocate for our stories, because not only do we have underrepresentation, sometimes our stories are repressed and even suppressed intentionally and covertly. So that's the justification for why there needs to be a blackout. Now, I want to say two things. For anyone in the blurred community, Black comic book readers, Black comic book fans who partook in the DC Blackout boycotts. I support you. And even if you're no longer doing the boycott, I don't have any negative feelings towards you, especially to the people who orchestrated it, because that's a fundamental, necessary thing that needs to happen. For the people, for the blurs, Black comic book fans waving the DC flag, saying it's all good. Why are you doing that? I don't support you. Ha ha ha. You already stopped. Y'all are traitors. Y'all are traitors. The reason why DC doesn't feel obligated to tell Black stories on equal scale as white stories, or the stories that they prioritize, is because you don't require them to. The reason why in 50 years they've only had 10 ongoing continuity mainline series led by a Black character and none of them were women is because you don't require them to do so. When you buy something and pay your money into an entity, a corporation, or a brand, you empower them. So anything they do that is not in alignment with the cultural equity of what they should be doing, you're co-signing it. The argument that, well, there's Black comic creators at DC, they're getting paid, and if we pull our books, they're gonna lose money, this, that, and the third. They already made it into the industry. They already made it on the board. That's a justification out of fear. You don't want to be excluded. So you're using that as a justification. That is false. They said they're marginalizing indie creators by pushing back against DC. How is promoting the idea of pulling your DC books and instead getting comics from indie creators marginalizing indie creators? How is that marginalizing indie creators? Explain that. By telling you to pull your DC books, the billion-dollar empire, and go get some indie titles instead. How am I telling you to marginalize indie creators? That's fucking stupid. So this is an announcement. Total Shock Fiction is picking up the DC Blackout. I'm picking up DC Blackout. I'm now taking lead in it. As far as I know, it's over with and everybody's done with it. So I'm picking it up. I'm waving that flag. Yes, I'm a Black creator. I don't only tell Black stories. I write Black fantasy, which means darker and bolder than traditional fantasy. So yes, I do have many stories that revolve around Black characters and Black identity. I also have characters who are not Black. I have white characters who have Black fantasy stories, which are darker and bolder than traditional fantasy. Thor the Thunder Goddess is a white goth girl from the Midwest, but it's still Black fantasy, and I still have countless other Black stories and Afrocentric stories and themes in my stories, even if it's non-Black characters. So Total Shock Fiction is still a Black brand, but it's not just a Black brand, it's for everyone. Just like Michael Jackson's music was for everyone, it doesn't matter if you're Black or white. Yeah, my shit is for everyone. If you like comic books, my shit is for you. If you like anime, my shit is for you. If you feel like you were outcast or a reject, that's for you. It doesn't matter if you're white, male, female, whatever your orientation is, or whatever you identify as. If you like good stories, then my shit is for you. Because I advocate for people. And I advocate for people who like cool shit and people who like weird shit. Because I like cool shit and I like weird shit. And people treated me like I was weird because of it. So that's why I created Creator Serial Podcast to put creativity in our cereal. So I'm picking up the DC Blackout. You can go read my article, Blurs Refuse to Stand on Business, which is on Substack. You could Google that, or you could go to my Substack, mrshock.substack.com. That's Mr. spelled out, MISTER, mrshock.substack.com. You can go over there. You can go get Thor the Thunder Goddess on Amazon, Walmart.com. You can go get my other books on BAM Books or my whole catalog on Amazon, 30 plus books. Black Fantasy Saga is my flagship. Almighty Sword is book 1. So you can start at Almighty Sword, you can start at Thor the Thunder Goddess, or really you can read any of my books because they're all standalone sequels. Even if they're part of a if they're part of a series, you can still read them without reading the previous installments. And most of them aren't even numbered anyway. So not only am I campaigning against the mainstream, I've presented a huge alternative, which is my 40 plus books. I've only published 30 plus because I can only publish so many quickly. I have, another 10 plus books I'll be releasing over the next year. So subscribe to my Substack for those. I'm on Instagram and X at Quote of Shock, Twitter. So yeah, the blackout continues. My demands for the blackout, I'm not even expecting DC to launch any titles because guess what? They're gonna launch some titles. I'm pretty sure they're about to roll out. But from what I hear in the rumor mill, they might be dropping a new Static Shock. They might be doing something with Vixen. So even if they drop one or two, mainline continuity series just so they can stop the hashtag DC so white thing. Those are token acts. They're only doing that to appease, and that's gonna really annihilate all of the DC fans who are feeling a kind of way but are still buying the books. That's gonna make them That's gonna make them say, okay, see, DC cares. No, they don't, and they deserve to be penalized for their refusal to elevate black stories on equal terms as the rest of their mainline stories. So what you need to do is pull your DC books from your pull log. That's not going to hurt your comic book shop. That's another justification because guess what? For every book you pull that's a DC title, even if you don't want to read it, pull a different title. Get Marvel, get an indie title, get some new shit you haven't read, or get some other shit. That's all you got to do, and your comic shop will still be making their money. So don't use that as a justification that it's going to hurt your comic shop because all you got to do is pull a different book, get some Marvel or get something in indie and just buy the same shit you would buy, the same amount of shit, but get something else. Do not support DC. And I see some of these non-black DC stands saying, well, they can't pay. They don't have enough buying power to keep a book going. How are they going to boycott? I guarantee you, if all of DC's black and people who are part of different marginalized groups start boycotting DC, I guarantee it's going to hurt their pockets because I see a lot of blurs defending DC. And as many blurs as there are defending DC, if y'all was pulling your books, they'd be making bigger waves. They'd be making bigger shifts. And even some non-black comic fans would eventually even join in with the boycott out of solidarity, which would be a bigger impact, and that's what they don't want. So Total Shock Fiction is officially the home of the DC Blackout. I'm picking it up. Yes, I'm a black creator of more than 30 plus published works of black fantasy fiction. My stories are not only for black readers, my stories are for everyone. Even if it's a black story, it's still for you if you like fantasy, monsters, superheroes, real good stories. Real good. Look how that sounds. Real good stories, guys. If you like stories that are about people, connection, and deep emotionally charged stories. That's what I write. So yeah. But as far as the DC Blackout goes, I like DC. That's the thing. So it's like, oh, well, he's not even a comic book fan. He's just some Hotep guy. He's a Hotepper. Da, da. Yeah, I'm a Hotep Taku. I love anime more than comic books. And yeah, I have knowledge of self. But guess what? I do like superheroes, and I like DC more than Marvel. So I'm still banging on DC because they're on bullshit. So until I see you and me yelling out, "We need more of these," I don't want to hear the fuckery. The motherfuckers defending DC. You're defending DC because you want in. And that's why I talk about in my article. People want to be comic creators, so they want to get hired at DC. So they're not gonna go boycott DC. They want to get hired. And even if they don't have those big of aspirations, they just want to get their books and read them and be consumers. They don't care. They just want to be consumers. They want to be in. Nah, bro. Because Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton and Tupac and Bob Marley and Michael Jackson, they all stood on business and they all pushed and advocated for us to have more rights and more representation. Michael Jackson pushed for his music videos to be on MTV. He had to push for Billie Jean and Beat It and Thriller to get on MTV. And those are three of the best music videos ever created. And they tried to say, well, we don't have space on our shelves for those black stories. But that ain't what we doing in 2026. That's out. That's all the way out, bro. Listen, Paradise Kentara Mura. Um, As always, stay shocked. Throw up the shocker if you love the shock verse. My name is N Pandit Cole. That's En Pandit, Pandit Cole, N Pandit Cole. You can also search Total Shock Fiction on Google. All my shit will come up. Go to Amazon, check out a book. My books are cheap. They're like $5 to $8. I know you might not trust me because I'm an unknown, but I'm really not unknown. Look at my reach. I have almost 400,000 views on YouTube, even if I only have 450, 60 subscribers. So fuck with me. I'm gonna be doing more podcasts because I have more shit to talk. And now that I'm leading the DC Blackout, um, you know, we're in this thing. And to everybody who was part of the DC Blackout, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to hit my email, immenseportals@gmail.com. It's in my description for my YouTube channel. Um, I'm down to, if you guys want to have some dialogue or whatever the case may be, but I'm going to be pushing this DC Blackout. And because I know that people already put the flag down, I don't anticipate anything to drastically change to where I would put it down, even though it's not going to be my primary focus. Like, I'm not just doing this for sensationalism. I'm not just doing this to ride the wave because it's not even a wave because everyone already dropped it. So it's not like I'm hopping on a hype train. The hype is pretty much over because everyone quit already. I'm picking this up because this matters to me as an indie creator who's inspired by black superheroes and comics and as a DC fan. And I'm doing this for Dwayne McDuffie. I'm doing this for Dwayne McDuffie, Bliss in Paradise, for Milestone Media, for everything they did with Static Shock, putting Static Shock on TV, putting black stories in comic book spaces, black characters with black faces and black voices telling black stories that matter to black kids. Because that's important. And I stand on that. And that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm picking up the DC Blackout. And it's not really a black white thing. So even though I dropped the hashtag DC So White, it's not about a black white thing because they use that as a justification for the non-black comic book fans to say, well, that's just you guys being racist. It's not about racism. It's about repression of stories and lack of representation, and not in a token sense of, oh, here's some representation for you guys. Inclusivity, fake inclusivity. It's not about that. It's about actual um future generations of kids who don't get to see a superhero with a black face because they don't value that. Because if they wouldn't have put Walter E. Jones in a black Power Ranger costume, how many of us wouldn't have known you could be a black superhero at a very young age? With that being said, as always, stay shocked. Throw up the shock if you love the shock verse. And Panic Cole.